I think you run the risk of chaos in the system, which the system cannot bear right now. I think there's a certain amount of order, whether you like the city clerk or you don't like her, whether you like the locations or you don't, there's a certain amount of order that has gone already under the bridge for a year. I think it would be a big mistake for city council, number one, to create that chaos among the communities. I think it would be a big mistake for city council to create that chaos among the neighborhood council system. During crisis, people want a little bit of order. It helps to kind of get their bearings. You know, I was at Northridge East the other night when the head of staff chief of staff for Councilman Smith said to everybody, I just want to let you know that tomorrow morning Councilman Smith's going to make a motion to return the elections back to the neighborhood councils. And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, what's the agenda behind that? Why? And I really don't think it's...
Well, why did Bill Rosendahl?
Because when Bill heard at council member Krikorian's warning that number one, a regular ordinance would take over 40 days. We've already spent $400,000. You risk spending $1 to get a dime. Rosendahl pulled back. He said, "Oh, you're providing me information and facts I didn't know."
So he may not support it ultimately.
So now that we have it at ENN on Tuesday, the way Councilman Krikorian wants to do it, which is to say, let's all calm down a little bit. Let's take it apart piece by piece and look at it. I think you're going to find at the end of the day on Tuesday, it'll be a much better decision to move forward, get it done. All the people that are in line that want to run,
and evaluate and decide whether
for
we do
next
it in
time.
the future or not.
I think that's going to be the best use of money.
Any insight that you can share with us?
I mean, we've looked at the process, and there's no firm fact figures. I mean, this obviously happened yesterday in council very quickly, and the council members' main thing was to make sure that we pulled it back and put it in committee. I'm kind of camera shy, so if we could move that away. And so it was very quickly. I mean, it just happened like that. We're trying to kind of get some general information and numbers. This is very general, but what we're looking at is if we move forward and try to do this in a way that made sense, so we repeal the ordinance, give the city attorney enough time to also put some basic procedures back into the ordinances to allow the neighborhood councils to run their elections in a systematic way that would try not to create chaos. We're really looking at, 8 weeks to do the ordinances, put those things back, get it to council, get it approved, and get it actually validated. So with looking at a process that makes sense, the savings are very minimal. I mean, we're really looking at $500,000, and that's not as an approximate number, and that's not providing any support to the neighborhood councils to do elections. So it's like you're off on your own. These are some general guidelines, but it's not money for done. It's just that would be the savings. If we went forward and did this and we weren't going to try to do it right now, we're not going to really take anything into effect. We're just going to suspend them completely. It would really become a no man's land with no type of general procedures, no basis for how to do things. And I think at that point, how that comes out within each community is going to be dependent on how organized each NC is, how organized they're not, how far they are along in the process, how far they're not.
Whether they're contested spots
right.
or not.
And I think, as you mentioned, I mean, to try to put something in place for IEAs or other funding, A, the money's not there, and then B, it's going to take a long time. So it would really it would be the city kind of saying, okay, good luck. So I don't know, what's going to happen. Like, so this is just sort of the only scenarios and options that we've seen that are possible. And that's just sort of in terms of information, what we're looking at.
I'd like to suggest, thank you. I'd like to suggest people are beginning to leave. We still have 2 more people on the list. And if we could, maybe we can come back to elections if we need to. Let's see if we can't get coordinated on what we're interested in and what's up here before half of you leave. The rest of us may stay, but the point is, it'd be nice if we could get this done with most of you here.
So I would be interested in entertaining a conversation about the hybrid of the hybrid and the...
Is that the whole list? Yep.
right? So this is 14 and a half, there are 14 and a half.
We got 14 here.
There are 14 and a half positions here as being recommended, and this is the transition list, or this is the July 1 permanent list?
That's the permanent.
That's the permanent list, and is the transition list bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
And what's the permanent, the transition number? Okay, so I don't think I can sell that, but that's, but maybe some of these, can be on the transition and they become permanent or somehow like that, so.
But help Larry argue for that resource reserve, because I think that's the heart of the function.
Yeah.
Okay, let's save Larry's,
Yeah, the lease contracts, leases are for a lease in which something is being paid. That's handled by the funding, the places that I've talked to about nonprofits, that contract, and that's something that's being paid, that needs to be in-house.
So maybe this could be contracted too.
Yeah, it's a part of what that is, as well as I think that.
Well, dealing with our city departments, which is what you have to do.
City attorney.
You may prefer to have somebody in-house in the city to do that, but I understand.
I think the preference with this group again is how do we do something that supports what we actually do rather than what the city talks about we need to do. And I think the same thing with the funding. I mean, the point is, if you have a good nonprofit that does this, that has an oversight, to treat them that they're little robots that can't understand what's necessary within the city, then
In terms of the reporting, maybe the.
you have one person.
Is that possible, Claudia? Tell me what's the reality here?
First of all, the contracting authority is delegated to departments. You can't delegate that authority to a nonprofit or an outside entity at all. So that would, that's something that has to be significantly, it's a legal issue.
Can't be totally out.
There's a number of
So
things
it's a use of
like
public
that.
funds issue.
Yeah, but the actual payment off of a contract, which is what we do in funding,
Right.
could occur through the fiscal agent, but the contract has to be approved through the department, because neighborhood councils don't have contract authority. They get authority, which is delegated through the department or departmental entities. And that's in the charter for every single
So do you think
department.
we can do one person, or is it absolutely two people? You know as well
Well,
as better
it's
than
the
we do,
volume.
and that's BH said two, and you say two, right?
Yeah, it's the volume.
I got a question though, and a statement. My first statement is, outside of funding, my neighborhood councils really had no problem with printing and contracting and all that stuff, because our neighborhood council's done really well with it. From our office, to our equipment, to our phones, and our DSL line, and everything else we do. So I understand maybe some neighborhood councils have had issues with it. We have had no issue with anything but funding, and we've made very clear that funding has been the Achilles heel. Having said that, my question comes back down to,
Elections used to be the biggest deal. Now funding is the biggest deal.
for us, elections were never a problem,
My, as I watched.
but having somebody in-house that we can coordinate with, to get the things we need done. It goes back to, we're volunteers.
Right.
So as a volunteer spending 25 hours a week on done stuff, the last thing I want to be doing is now having to chase somebody at the IT department, then chasing somebody at the printing department, then chasing I want a point person that I can put it on their head, so that if it's a screw up, I don't have a problem picking up the phone and going to BH, or going to somebody and saying, hey, how come I can't get this from my person? As opposed to trying to figure out who I need to call all around the city for the 5 things I'm not getting from the other departments who aren't supporting us.
So that's what scares me the most about going from 37 down to 14. Because really the differences, there are 17 folks over at Dunn that are really assigned, maybe